Roll it.
The only way that change ever takes place in this country is from the bottom on up, not the top down. Together, what this campaign is about, it's not just beating Trump. It has taken on the greed and corruption of Wall Street.
Well, our next guest is the author of this book, Profiles of Corruption. And in it, he says Sanders should try practicing what he preaches. Peter Schweizer is with us, the author of that book. Peter, in what way is Bernie corrupt?
Well, it's funny, Stuart. For about 35 years, Bernie's rhetoric since the 1970s was condemning the fact that our politics was dominated by billionaires and millionaires. He stopped using that phrase in 2017 and just talked about billionaires because he became a millionaire. He became a millionaire in a couple of ways. One was by book sales, but a lot of people don't realize he spent at least $500,000 of his own campaign money buying copies of his own book, which is a pretty great gig. The other thing he's done, though, is he's steered taxpayer money and campaign money to his family. For example, when he was running for Congress, he made his wife his media buyer to buy media, radio, television ads. She had no background in advertising or in media, but the reason he did it is that you get a roughly 10 to 15% commission by doing so, and you don't have to disclose it. So she took in, the family took in about $150,000 with that. So there are legions of examples of Bernie Sanders enriching his family. That's why he has a net worth of a couple of $1 million and 3 homes.
And did that money come from all the small donors that he's been collecting money from?
It certainly did. You know, the $500,000 spent on his book did. The money going into his campaigns that went into media buying, his wife got that commission. The other thing, Stuart, to be said is you can tell a lot about a person about what's in their stock portfolio. If you look at Bernie Sanders, he's not buying socially responsible investment funds. He doesn't own solar company stock. He doesn't own a organic cattle farm. He's invested in S&P 500 stocks, Big Pharma, Wall Street, defense contractors, the very companies that he denounces and accuses of all this terrible activity.
Be careful, Peter. I've got an organic dairy farm, but let's not get into that. Look, I want to talk to you about the tarmac scandal. You know, the meeting between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch when she was Attorney General. They say that they were talking about grandparents and golfing, but I believe you think it's something else. Tell me more.
Yeah, I think that the tarmac meeting is one of the things that frustrates a lot of people about justice in America today. There seems to be 2 different standards for people who are on the inside and people who are not. And the notion that you know, Bill Clinton went out of his way to meet with the Attorney General while his wife was under investigation on multiple fronts by the Department of Justice, and he felt it was appropriate, and all they did was talk about grandchildren, I think is just completely laughable. And I think the results of what we've seen from the Department of Justice, they don't really investigate a lot of these matters. Certainly the Uranium One issue, which they announced they didn't find anything. When you look at the Washington Post's account of it, they say it wasn't really an investigation, it was a review. They didn't subpoena anybody, they didn't go to any of the whistleblowers, they really didn't do anything. And I think that's the root of so much of the frustration in America today, inconsistent justice.
Peter Schweizer, that's an extraordinary book you wrote there, and I'm halfway through it, actually.